Folks, welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name is Jordan Dahl.
I am Nate Balding.
I am Roger Norquist.
Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by the Monstroco Home Crematorium. Cut out the middleman, chop him into small pieces, and shove him into this pint-sized portable inferno. No more waiting for weeks for a plastic bag full of ashes that may or may not be your loved ones. With the Monstroco Crematorium, there's no doubt. What's cooking? It smells like Aunt Marie. The Monstroco Home Crematorium by Monstroco. What the fuck?
Now, I'm sorry I laughed at such a serious product, but that is the funniest Monstroco item we've had sponsor us in a while.
It's a good one. Here, and this particular item was brought to our attention by Dark Council member Tobias. Shout out Tobias. Thank you so much for bringing this one to our attention. There is an Amazon Basics version of it that's you're gonna get some spillage. I'm just saying, don't put it in the living room. Maybe the kitchen or the basement, something like that. With the Monstroco Home Crematorium, pop that baby in the living room. You fire it up. You get all the fam around. You guys are, warming your hands and opening presents around Aunt Marie as she sizzles and pops and dissipates to the other side. And you'll get no boil over. You'll get no fat splatters. You'll get no haunting screams with the Monstroco Home Crematorium. Mention the code what the fuck for 20% on. They'll add 20% to it.
Well, it's Fat Friday.
Of course, the price is always
exactly.
The price has already been paid, but you are now paying 20% of that price, which has already been paid.
Yes, exactly, which will help balance out your karmic debt. Nevertheless, I got one. I haven't used it for any particular cremations yet, but it makes pizza rolls quite well.
Really?
Yeah. You only put them in for a few seconds because it's incredibly hot in there. But yeah, you can zap some pizza rolls in this booby. I would say clean it out if you've used it for its intended purpose, or not if that's your vibe. It is stipulated in my will that I would like to be put into pizza rolls and eaten by you guys.
I will make sure that happens.
Yeah, that's.
And your wife will have to fight me if she does not do this. I will demand we all eat Jordan Dahl pizza rolls.
Yeah, she's against it, but you keep fighting. She's wrong.
She doesn't eat meat, but she will eat some of you.
Technically, I'm not meat. According to the doctor, I am a grain.
Yeah.
Technically,
are all humans grain?
Nope, just me. I'm technically mostly gluten.
I'm mostly hummus. I get it.
What do we have for them this week, folks?
We got some.
You know what we're supposed to do? We do plugs up front now. Guess what, folks? You're listening to Werewolf Radar. We love doing this for you. Go check us out on Twitch. Check us out on Patreon. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on werewolfradar.com. You can become a Patreon member. You can get an extra episode every week. We just got done recording this week's episode. It was a lot of fun. We're talking about cursed instruments, which is just delightful.
Just
and
wonderful.
terrifying.
Some cursed melodies we play for you, a cursed instrument we demo for you. You will spiral into an insanity. Yes,
absolutely. But yeah, if you like the show and you want to support us, go ahead and give us 5 stars wherever 5 stars can be given. And if you really, really like us, join us on Patreon. You'll get some extra wonderful spooky goodies.
Along with taking care of us and our future projects, such as Werewolf Radar's wanted tour of, I don't know, a haunted building in your state.
Yeah, we'll come and tour the Witch's Hat building in Kemmerer, Connecticut. Is that a thing?
You know what? That's not a bad idea.
No, I think if we do ever get enough patrons, like we get to 1,000 patrons out of nowhere, for some reason we blow up. I would love to do something like that.
If we start making money we
will come to your house and fucking hunt it.
We will do that. If we start making that kind of, that Patreon money, I think that the Patreon will have a lot of live ghost hunts that we go on.
I would be more than willing to stay up with you all.
Yes, I would do that as well. That sounds like a lot of fun. And there's plenty of haunted places, and some of them we're gonna be allowed back in about a year. So you're gonna
Oh,
want to
no,
be
we
part of
won't.
that. Nate's cooking something up. Nate, would you like to take the skull first and round out Big Vember? We're done with it.
Sure.
We'll never talk about Bigfoot again. Just kidding.
I would love to pull the chest out and
Mm-hmm.
pop it open
Yeah, don't
There
be
you
like
go.
me, leaving it in there, getting it all overheated.
and pull the skull out
Nice.
and give it a little kiss on the forehead. End of November, end of Big November, rather.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about a handful of things. First up, we've got the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization posting a video from a game camera purported to be from a Connorsville, Indiana
Game
person
camera.
named that I linked earlier.
Yes, I got it. I will share the video
As
so we can all watch. Head to our YouTube so you can see this as well because it is interesting.
this is a guy named Josh Banker who, if you hear it let me actually post a better one.
Post a better one. This is a nice
Pretty.
little teaser. It shows a lot. Like that's something on that trail camera, and it is very Bigfoot-like.
It's big. It's definitely huge. It's doing the Bigfoot walk.
In this one, he yells, "That's a freaking Sasquatch."
Oh, interesting.
Also, think about buying Uniqlo. They make generally good clothes.
There you go.
Connorsville Sasquatch, purported to be captured on game camera just a couple of days ago. Josh Banker writes RMSO Managed Media, posting the following game camera footage and stating, "I literally don't have the words. I went to check the trail cameras this morning and I think I caught a freaking Sasquatch. Neighbors said that they have heard weird screams at night. I mean, I thought it was just deer outside making the dogs bark all night. Well, no more going to the woods without my 45. It's in Connorsville, Indiana." Josh shared some photos of what the
Interesting.
surrounding area looks like during the daytime.
Huh.
We enlarged the subject by
There's not much more to it than
120%
that, but
and enhanced the lighting to get a
It's
better look.
pretty
Not saying this
interesting,
Bigfoot
right?
captured on this guy's trail camera
Well-
in Indiana. However,
Eh.
Jeff Adams did share some amazing Bigfoot tracks he documented in southeast Indiana, and some family members, along with him, have seen the creature not far from these tracks. Hope you guys enjoyed the latest Bigfoot news. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.
So
Well, I gotta like the video for that.
Necrophil in the chat says he thinks he saw tits. That is how you can tell it's a real Bigfoot if she's swinging them things.
Both male and female Bigfoot have
it-
them tits.
The picture does look like Patty, the Patterson Gimlin footage. It's doing the walk.
it's also
Which-
like every 10 frames or whatever.
Yeah, which also the fact that it is doing the very specific walk makes me less believe it.
There, this is a
strangely.
good image from there. It has that wide arm swing.
Yeah, but also
if the neighbors apparently also attested to the fact that they thought that their dogs were barking
yeah,
at deer running around or whatever, and it might have just been that they were barking at a Sasquatch
yeah.
moving through their area all the time.
Pretty strange. Pretty exciting for the Sasquatch community. This dude could be a hoaxer, who knows? But he seemed pretty impressed.
He cursed Jordan. He
I'd say
said
the
friggin'.
first image of the foot also looks kind of hoaxed.
Yes, yeah.
The impression seems way too deep.
The footprints. He did say friggin'. You're right. The foot itself, it looks a bit perfect. I don't know. But we have been filled with doubts by years of, being lied to. So
Remember that Texas guy who said he had the body, and then it turns out it was just something he was eating slowly over time?
Yeah.
Oh, RFK.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, a
Well,
lot of hoaxers. We've been
pretty cool
burned.
stuff.
Hurts.
We've been burned.
But yeah, that was a bit of some stuff for the end of Bigvember.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. You wanted to talk about the Sheepsquatch too, right?
Well, I do, but first, I also want to talk about a South Carolina police officer
Oh
who
boy.
reported a Bigfoot to the BFRO. Some details about a recent Bigfoot sighting there.
Interesting.
He'd been hunting deer about 25 miles northwest of Columbia in the western part of the state. He heard a grunt before seeing a 7 to 7.5 foot tall, and this is a quote, brown human-like shape through all of the brush with long brown hair, an ape-like face, and long arms that locked eyes with him for around 30 seconds,
Ooh.
which seems pretty long.
Especially in the moment of seeing something unknown, like that feels like a lifetime.
Before it turned and walked. Yes, he could have shot the creature, but said, as much as I didn't want to admit it, I'm convinced it was a Bigfoot. So I let it go.
Very
And
strange.
this was a cop from the South, so
I
any
mean,
other thing,
he would have shot.
he would have shot it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always very interested when people in very professional jobs put their kind of reputation on the line, even though like cops don't have the greatest reputation. They still live in a circle where if you say shit like this, you're going to be ruthlessly mocked.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It lends a degree of credibility to it. I hate to say it, but it does.
Well, and he immediately went to the BFRO.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he kind of maybe knew it was out there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's, they had a rapport
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did want to talk a little bit about the other Squatch, the Sheepsquatch.
Your sheep squatch is also, I feel, a more frightening version of the squatch.
Oh, it's a very much more terrifying.
Nice.
It's got horns, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Across a large swath of West Virginia, including Boone, Kanawha, and Putnam and Mason counties, there's said to be lurking a hulking creature which is really hard to classify. Starting from around the mid-90s, there began to be a string of sightings of what was described as a white, woolly, bear-sized creature with a pointed-topped head with goat-like horns, a snouted face with long, sharp teeth, and long, hairless tail.
Weird.
Yeah, that's like a number of different animals.
Well, people also describe it as a giant opossum,
Weird.
which is way more frightening, actually,
Yeah.
to me.
That's pretty
A
spooky.
possum squatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although possums are generally
Posquatch.
pretty friendly.
I thought
But
they were like
imagine-
feral little things that, like to scratch.
Well, they're like, if you give them a little bit of food, they're fine.
Okay.
They're like rats. Well, I mean,
Gotcha.
well,
They can be turned to what am I trying to
They
say? They
can-
can be turned to
they can
obey
be
the wills
turned
of
to-
man.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
They can become oppressed until they become 6 feet tall with horns. Often reported as accompanied by a pungent, sulfurous stench. The creature was at first simply called the White Thing,
The white
And when-
thing.
which I think we've talked about before, but
Yeah.
I don't think we've actually done these specific encounters.
Nice. I was gonna say something about my penis, but I think we all know the joke now.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Boink.
The first sightings of the bizarre creature started coming in 1994. In perhaps the earliest report, a group of women claimed that they had been driving along a treacherous icy road in a location in West Virginia known as the TNT area, which they were cautiously inching along in order to not get into an accident. According to witnesses, they were then surprised by a large creature that lumbered out of the woods in front of them, described as being around 7 or 8 feet tall, covered with shaggy white hair, with a pointed snout, ram-like horns, and human-looking legs.
Indeed.
Indeed.
It's always the human-like legs. Like even on Bigfoot, I feel the legs are the most human. I mean, sure, the eyes and the face a little bit, but it really is those legs and how it walks to where like that's not normal. That's too human-like.
Yeah, you would think it would have like inverted knees.
Yeah, like the
True.
back legs of a or the front legs of a dog.
Like the back dogs of a leg.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
With 2 dogs for 2 legs.
A dog in every leg.
That's the American dream. The mysterious creature allegedly froze for a moment when the headlights hit it before running off into the dark forest. Soon after this report, others came pouring in, and there were apparently numerous sightings in 1994.
Okay.
There was a former Navy seaman out hunting observed the same creature, or a very similar creature emerged from the forest to crouch at a creek apparently to take a drink.
Sure, that's
Before
where they drink from.
continuing on its way, the witness claimed to have watched it for several minutes and said that it had human-like hands. Another account,
Same.
yeah, weird. In another account, a motorist spotted a tall, robust creature on a hillside that was covered in white fur that appeared to be like rags hanging off of its body.
Like clothes,
Weird.
like rudimentary clothes, very like Neolithic.
So this could just be a wild man.
Yeah,
Still
truly,
fascinating.
but pretty fucking
Although-
weird one. He's got a tail.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, possum tail.
you go into the forest for long enough, aren't you you're gonna kill something and wear its horns and its tail?
Yeah, okay.
I
fair,
disagree.
fair.
I think just like pigs, if you let a human go feral, we start to grow horns and a tail. Prove me wrong,
well-
scientists.
Yeah. You get it one way or the other.
But you will get it.
That same year in Boone County, 2 children playing in their yard saw it. They said that a beast that looked like a white bear walking on its hind legs was making its way through the underbrush on the periphery of their property.
Weird.
And they, of course, screamed and ran away. And their screams actually sent it running away, and it left apparently snapped saplings and tree branches in its wake. A year later, we're going to 1995 here. A couple driving along spotted a white bear-like creature hunched over in a roadside ditch. When the couple slowed down to see what it was, the creature had then stood up on its hind legs to reveal it was no bear, but rather a massive beast with a horned head and oddly 4 eyes.
4 eyes. What a weird number of eyes to have.
I mean, that doesn't sound like any naturally occurring thing.
No, are we outside of the realm of evolution like Sasquatch would be? You know, it kind of fits within an evolutionary line. Is this witchcraft?
Yeah, this feels like we're getting more into like spiritual entities and things of that.
Because like the human hands with the hooves and the horns, like there's
Yeah.
too many animals for it not to be a being from a different realm.
Pretty strange.
Well,
Pretty weird.
even weirder, it then allegedly dashed at their car in a fury, slashing and banging the side of the vehicle with great force before the terrified couple sped away.
Yeah.
They claim that when they reached their home, they discovered the side of their car displayed wicked scratches that looked like they had been made by claws. Jump a little forward to 1999. There was another such frightening encounter when some campers heard, and I think that this is one of the things that we've actually covered, but here it is again. In 99, a bunch of campers heard what they at first took to be the sounds of a bear grunting, huffing, and moving about out in the darkness beyond the periphery of their campsite. Already a little spooked that a bear was in such close proximity and sounding to be in the best of moods, the campers were truly in for a shock when out of the brush came crashing a hulking white blur, which let out a blood-curdling, unearthly scream. And then they fucking ran away.
Wow.
And the entire campsite was destroyed.
You
I would've
should
done the same
always
thing.
carry a gun while going into the woods for your own safety. You know, there's bears, there's lions, there's moonshiners. Oh my.
Lions and tigers and drinkers.
Yep. But this is definitely a reason.
Oh, it would be
yeah.
lions and tigers
Lions and
booze.
shiners and bears.
Liars. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good.
But yeah, I would carry my 44 with me at all times just to protect myself from this.
I would bring a broadsword. If I'm going to face Bigfoot, I want it to be real Conan the Barbarian shit.
Fair.
Also works on
Yeah.
bears.
This does sound like where did he live? Hyperborea?
Yes,
This
yes.
does seem like a Hyperborean style beast.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, truly.
Oh yeah, Sheepsquatch is 100% Conan era stuff.
Yeah. Everybody knows Robert E. Howard created Sheepsquatch.
For his novel,
Yes.
Conan and the Sheepsquatch.
Yes.
Weird ending though, where they fall in love and have children.
Yeah, that is weird, but heartwarming. Do you think that, you know how people online like to call you sheeple?
Yes.
This is an actual Sherson, right?
Yeah.
Although he's acting like he doesn't go along with all of the bullshit that the media and the government tells you. He's living on his own.
Sherple's a sovereign citizen.
We call him Sherple.
Yeah.
Sherple the sheep man.
And he's traveling. He isn't driving. Prove to him that he's driving.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a driver's license.
He's actually just looking for a ride. That's what the scratches are.
Let's give him a ride.
He's trying to open the door just too animalistically. He doesn't know how
Look.
handles work yet.
Just give him a ride.
You stopped to look at me while I was putting my thumb out. What do you think I'm doing?
Interesting.
I like that
Good
theory,
point.
just hitchhiking entity theory.
Yeah, he just needs to get to a Waffle House.
He's hungry. He has $7.50, and that will buy him 2 pancakes, 2 eggs, and 2 slices of bacon.
Oh man, I would fucking
It's very
destroy that
specific.
right now. It is very specific. It's very specific pieces of bacon too. Not those ones. These ones.
Anyway, I think that is our interlude between the months of Bigvember and
Sheeptober.
well, it was a pyramid.
What about
Pyramidember is one working theory of the name.
Pyramidember. We're going Egyptian. I kind of like the idea of naming it after Sheepsquatch, but not saying any. Like Sheepvember, Sheepsember, Busember.
Yes.
I don't know if that works, but we'll figure something out.
It's in there
We'll
May
have
I
something by
take
Monday.
the speaking skull?
Yes.
for sure.
Thank you. Please place it in the pneumatic
There you
tube.
Yeah.
And here it is. I will put a tab of acid into the mouth of the speaking
Oh,
skull,
Jesus Christ.
as is its way. And,
Going nuts.
oh, yeah, it's going to have a fun afternoon. I want to talk to you guys. We're going to keep talking about the skunk ape, our old pal, the skunk ape, that stinky old fella. We were talking last week about some of the pictures, some of the encounters, how this is strangely one of the more believable hominid variants that are claimed to be stomping around the swamps and alleys of this fair nation. And so I decided to go back to the BFRO.net and find out which county in Florida has the most skunk ape sightings. That's right. We're going to Collier County, Florida, everybody. We're on the Collier page on BFRO.net, and we have, I'm going to say, scads of sightings. There's at least 20 here.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. We'll start in the past, and we'll work our way up to 2012. Boy, 2012, there hasn't been any sightings reported in the past 12 years? Whatever.
Oh, it's because the Mayans predicted there would be no sightings, and
That's right. Mm-hmm. He went home.
Well, they came out for the midterms and they were like, "Man, we can walk away."
Okay, this was in fall 1975, submitted by witness on Wednesday, March 29th, 2006. Any requests for an accent?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you make it a Korean accent?
I probably could, but I would be canceled. Have you heard that thing that it's like hard for white people to learn Japanese because some of the words sound like you're doing an offensive like impression?
As someone who is learning
'cause-
some Japanese,
Yeah.
yes, the pronunciation of it is offensive to our culture. If you're familiar with the Asian voice, some of the words should be pronounced like that.
Yeah, like Japanese hamburger is called hambagu, and like when you say that to somebody, like I'm gonna make hambagu, they're like, okay, well you can't. Are you gonna be doing that the whole time?
Same with Piroresu is just pro wrestling that
Yeah,
somebody at one point said in a pretty fucked up accent.
Yeah, anything
Was
the
adapted.
orange Japanese works as a D or an L, depending on the vowel after it, which makes some of your pronunciations very problematic.
Okay, so we're going with no accent on this
Yeah, we're
particular
going with
skunk
no
ape
accent,
encounter.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, you can do Cajun.
this was in Collier County.
That's weirdly more offensive.
Location. This was
Yeah.
This was fall of 1975. We're in Collier County. This guy says he's not sure if he was on the correct highway or even county. We grew up in Miami Springs and we took 2-hour trips to the Everglades to the south. Nearest town, Everglade City, where the mayor is an alligator. Nearest road, I want to say Highway 27. This is the observation. My father, along with brothers Eric and Don Jr., that's weird. No, I'm kidding. Along with my
I wouldn't be
brothers,
surprised.
the secret Bigfoot loving Trump son who
On
rocks.
Junior.
Yeah. Me and my terrible family. My father, along with my brothers Eric and Mark, at a young age, were hunting in the Florida Everglades with two friends of the family, Ronnie and George. Okay, this does. Now it's starting to sound.
I think now you have to start doing a Cajun accent.
I think I have to start doing a Donald Trump accent because this sounds like Donald Trump was out hunting with his sons and George Bush and the spirit of Ronald Reagan. Well, I think I saw the Bigfoot, Mommy. Okay, that's Ronald Reagan, guys. I can approximate my age, about 13 years old, because my family started building a second home behind ours in 1972, blabber and blabbity blah. Anyway, we drove to a secluded area of the Everglades to do beer bongs. Just kidding. Later, I was told we were 17 miles away from any paved road. Us, quote, adults went out with 22 rifles, my first time. We were parking in what we now
not
call
22 rifles.
No,
20
like
the caliber.
right.
I was like, that's a lot
yeah.
of rifles you brought.
Per person. Yeah.
Yeah.
You stick them all together with gaffer's tape. You fire them all at once. In South Florida, and they know we're parking in an area we now call BFP. About 6 p.m. Ask anybody in South Florida, and they know what I mean by BFP, Bureau of Fire Prevention Land. I thought they were going to call it Bigfoot Park, whatever.
So did I. I thought that's exactly what it was.
Way out in the middle of nowhere is the point. We tracked through waist-high vegetation growth when we reached a clearing and continued in a horizontal line towards a tree line approximately 100 yards away. We supposedly were hunting for rabbits, but we never saw one. As we approached the tree line, we came up to a recent dried-out water hole. Here is where I spotted the tracks. There were at least 17 inches in length, 2 half prints, and one full print in the mud going into the brush line. See, that's what I want to see. Whenever people take the picture of the full foot and they're like, there it is, it's like, I want to see the tracks. I want to see the less than perfect prints. I want to see the direction. Anyway,
You want a slew of
more than
evidence that
one.
rightfully so you need. This is an outrageous claim, and you need extraordinary evidence as well.
it's outrageous. I recall that we left that area not long after that. It basically ended our trip. I feel now, with what I know, it was a skunk ape. I will swear on the Bible on this experience, and I have only Eric to back my story. Mark was only 10 and remembers nothing. And my dad has passed away. I will take a lie detector test on this event.
I mean, in terms of the evidence that we do get, this is somewhat to be looked at. Like, he's very sure it's
Yeah.
not something that he's used to in the area. Like, he's willing to put things on the line.
Oh, absolutely. And he's not making up he saw tracks. He saw some tracks that he didn't recognize. An outdoorsman, he knows the area. Strange enough that he went to the BFRO for it. Also noticed.
Also, he killed his father in front of his younger brother.
Yes,
please-
and that's
please
why
don't do
his
that.
younger brother can't remember much of his childhood.
Exactly.
I clearly remember no sign of animal activity to include land or air. No birds. Weird for 7 p.m. in the Everglades. Other witnesses, all the people we mentioned, other stories. Later, as an older teenager, I first heard the term skunk ape. Must have been 16 or 17 in high school. This gave me the creeps. So pretty cool. It is interesting that he comes to the BFRO like, I'll take a lie detector, which is like they don't do that. But that definitely, he's definitely passionate about it.
Well,
So-
the silence also is
Very strange.
that's always interesting.
That
Yeah,
is a
it's
sign-
typically, yeah, thank you. It's a sign of Bigfoot, or at least something in the woods, but a lot of Bigfoot encounters have that silence.
It's generally a sign that there's something large in the area, a large predator. People will say that the forest goes quiet when there's like a mountain lion stalking around or something like that. But also in a lot of Bigfoot encounters, people will note a strange quietude, and also in a lot of really scary like ghost encounters in the woods that I've heard of, like pale crawler stuff and like weird semi-demonic stories. People will record like the first thing that they realized was wrong was that there was literally no sound coming from the forest.
And that
So-
is so
Yeah.
fucking scary.
Yeah, if you get to the woods and it's perfectly quiet, you're not camping. Just don't camp tonight.
Yeah, go.
That's
You might be
unless-
dead.
Unless you're us and we're doing it for the
Well,
Patreon.
Yes. We will go to your cursed mushroom field.
We will sleep there. No problem. Okay, next up, we're going to go to August 1979. This is considered a Class A encounter. Class B is like evidence, and Class A is, I believe, a sighting. Location details. The house stood alone at the time. I don't recall any other homes nearby. There would be nothing left now but the basement foundation unless someone else built there later. This is summer of 1979 in August. As a member of the Carpenters Union number 1641 out of Naples, Florida, I was offered work disassembling a house in Ochope. Our crew of about 8 men arrived very early before the trucks, so we climbed up to the roof to enjoy the sunrise and the view. Nice. A couple of us were munching on sandwiches, sipping sodas. You know, people will tell you it's trashy to drink soda in the morning. I like a soda in the morning.
I am one of those people, and it never sits right with me.
It doesn't. There's something weird about it.
One time we were doing a show, I think it was us. I all I remember is Sam and I were smoking a lot of hash we found in the in the house.
Okay.
And this guy was all like, I need a soda in the morning. And I changed my whole attitude about him. I was like, you are not a good person.
Whoa. Yeah. I mean, it says something. It's
But there's nothing
definitely
wrong with it. That's my
There's-
own judgment
dude,
that's wrong.
That's what's so strange about it is there's nothing inherently wrong. Like there's no time to drink soda. I guess you
I had a
drink it, like,
coffee with
pizza.
2 scoops of
Well,
sugar in
it's-
there. What's the difference?
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, yeah, it's caffeine and sugar.
Yeah. Get that shit. You ever had Mountain Dew AM?
As black as her soul, as sugary as a fairy.
It's a
I can't believe they don't have that flavor already.
Mountain Dew AM was a thing that they were serving at Taco
No,
Bell
they
for a
really
while.
did that?
Bro,
Really?
yes. And it was Mountain Dew. It was half Mountain Dew, half orange juice.
Okay, now that
Yo,
sounds
that's-
phenomenal.
What the?
Here's the worst part. It's fucking delicious, man.
Now I'm
was
on the
the
other
best
side
thing.
of you. I
That's
think
the
this
only
is
thing that
fucking
should be
disgusting.
drank.
Dude, it is a weird, the soda in the morning argument is a very strange quagmire to find yourself in. There you go. That's the, oh shit, the recipe is even here. Color, greenish orange.
Too young for a mimosa? Have a Mountain Dew AM.
Yeah, here's a way to destroy yourself just as fast. Diet Mountain Dew, ew. In the morning? Okay. Okay, some of us were sipping sodas, eating sandwiches. On the way up to the roof, some of us noted a foul smell emanating from the basement. Weird.
Okay.
As all of the lower windows were broken, we assumed an animal had crawled in there to die. Suddenly, one of the guys at the edge yelled for us to look below him. This is fucking crazy. We all came to the roof edge and observed a tall, hairy creature leaving the basement of the house and walking upright towards the edge of the trees, directly away from us. As soon as the creature reached the tree line, it turned and squatted facing us on the roof, about 40 yards away. The creature was about 6 feet tall with reddish brown hair all over its body. It made no noise or other movement. The silent standoff continued until the creature suddenly stood and gazed far off to the west. It had heard our trucks arriving before we could even see them from the roof.
And this is someone that crawled out of their basement that broke into it.
Well, this was a dilapidated house that they were stripping down.
Okay. Right. Still crew.
Yeah, the creature turned and had totally disappeared within just a few steps away from us. Although we were looking down from a height in full daylight, it was just gone.
Some of those wood, especially in Florida, those woods be thick, man. Like it's tree on tree layering.
Oh, you want to talk fucking Hyboria? These are the woods these are the jungles of Conan's youth. Do you guys know Conan the Barbarians from Florida?
I kind of had suspicions, but I never asked.
Grew up there. Later, we examined the basement and noticed a sleeping area under the stairs. It was composed of old clothes, rags, weeds, and animal fur. There was a nasty smell, and we left this spot alone as we took down the entire house, which was moved in pieces to the Gainesville area.
Yeah, they found a squatter.
It really does sound like it, but they saw it. He said it was covered in reddish fur.
I mean...
Well, he could be a very hirsute man.
In that sense, I mean, most primates will squat, if you will. Like, look at parts of Indonesia and India to where some monkeys have just taken over ruins because no one's there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought you meant like the action of squatting.
Yeah, the action, the East Coast action of sitting on a property for 7 years and now it's yours.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like it's a very primate thing to do. They found shelter and they're going to use the shelter.
This sounds like a skunk ape encounter to me. The smell, the fur, there's broad daylight. This is all just too strange and yeah. So, also noticed foul smell in the area and was also very quiet. No birds or other animals observed in the area. Other witnesses are at least 8 of us from the Carpenters and the Laborers Union. Other stories. I'm sorry that you are just now hearing about this incident. We were later so involved in the hard task at hand, we just forgot about the brush with Bigfoot. Okay, now I'm moving away from believing it. I suppose that since none of us had brought a camera, we didn't bother mentioning it to anyone else. I thought that you may have a need to log the incident anyway, for more complete accumulation of movement/sighting statistics. Cool. Okay, interesting. Class A side from November 1983. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to pass it over to Raj.
Yay!
And then we're going to keep going next week. Because Big Vember waits for no one. This is in Big Vember of 1993. So 1993, season winter, month November, aka Big Vember, observed This is in Collier County, Florida. Several months after Hurricane Andrew struck South Florida, 5 friends and myself were on a hog hunting trip, if you know what I mean, in an area just southeast of the Big Cypress Indian Reservation. My friends had a camp there, along with other people who had been there for years. This area is a weekend getaway spot where people go to hunt and camp. The area is very swampy and filled with many oak and cabbage palm hammocks and cypress heads. To get around the terrain, you must have a 4-wheel drive swamp buggy with good clearance, much as we are fully aware Bigfoot now has.
Yep. He lives in the TV.
Mm-hmm. On this particular day, we drove many hours in search of hog tracks. We used dogs to sniff out the hogs by driving on the swamp buggy trails. I had noticed a certain trail that had not been used for quite some time and had no visible buggy tracks. I came up to a big puddle in the road and noticed that the animals in the area had been using it to drink from. I saw hog tracks, deer, turkey, raccoons, birds. Noticing the hog tracks, I drove completely around the pool of water to save this as a marker to return to later in the evening. Around midnight, we drove 2 buggies into the area. Hang on just a second.
Come on, you could have done 3, you cowards.
And scare off Bigfoot? Come on.
Well, you tow one for Bigfoot to take after you leave.
That's right, because Bigfoot's not gonna just jump on yours. He needs his own.
We drove 2 buggies into the area that I suspected hogs might be hiding from the midday sun. We drove all night, crashing down palmetto bushes that have grown up in this area on the trails. During this time, no other human sign had been observed until the next day.
There we were, destroying the local ecology in one of the
when a forest
only
guardian
places on the planet this happens.
At the pool of water where I saw the animal sign, I returned and found some very strange tracks. It appeared to be human-shaped, bipedal. One was very big and the other very small, like a child's or possibly deformed. The tracks had a stride of approximately 6 feet with a depth of 2 to 3 inches. I tried to imitate the step and stride and could not. I would fall over and barely broke the surface of the mud a half inch. When I stomped my foot into the mud, I could still not reach the depth of the suspicious tracks. I went back to the camp and told my friends what I had found. We then returned to the location later that evening, and to my amazement, new tracks were found. The maker of the tracks had returned after my departure. It may have been noted that myself and friends are veteran law enforcement officers who have seen it, done it, and got a t-shirt. We don't believe what we hear and half of what we see. At this point, we were very suspicious and concerned about what we had stirred up in the swamp the night before. We had an 8mm VHS camera and videotaped the tracks and the comparison of our tracks. 3 out of 5 of us believed that we had found the tracks of an escaped gorilla. Notably, gorillas don't have human feet. That's not...
They're far from the humanoid shape that we have, for sure.
Yeah, you would see their hands.
I'm Googling gorilla feet so that my algorithm is now fucked for all eternity.
Cool.
And here is a gorilla foot. Like it's a hand.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot different. Also,
human foot, gorilla foot.
Yeah.
They have opposable foot thumbs.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
They love to party.
If you were running, possibly running from something where you would impact hard, how many feet do you think you would move between
your
legs? Like I feel like
if I was running, maybe 6.
Yeah, I know that.
6 is not a crazy number.
Yeah.
No, me running, my gait is about 5 to 6 feet. Like you get because running's just fast, small jumping. Like you're getting some distance in between those steps.
So these guys were thinking,
and also these are cops, and so their running is like what, 1 to 2 feet.
Yeah, it's cops are slow and weak. Come at me.
They mentioned that the hurricane had damaged the Miami Zoo and that animals had escaped, monkeys.
I could see that for sure.
Monkeys don't have people feet. So they also thought that someone mentioned that it may be the tracks of a skunk ape. Being police officers, you don't run back to town and tell everybody that you saw skunk ape tracks while on vacation. We left the area in amazement and discussed the suspicious track location. On a hard, dry roadbed, we found another set of tracks. The track impressions were as deep as the first ones found near the mud. At this time, we were convinced that no human had made these tracks because of the lack of other vehicles' tracks, and that the fact that someone walking 3 miles barefoot in this terrain with one bad foot was unlikely. Truly. They went back, they took casts. The area was like what I had found prior to driving through the swamp months earlier. No tire tracks, just the local inhabitants. Hogs, deer, turkey. These woods are thick, and I do believe that an intelligent creature could sneak around undetected from civilized man. The land is rich with food and shelter. I have moved away from my home in the glades and often wonder if I had scared a skunk ape from his hiding spot in that pristine oak hammock during the fall of 1993, or was it a prankster? We never told anyone outside of our circle of friends and never read about any mysterious tracks found in the Everglades and or spoke with anyone down there that might have seen the same tracks. I guess it will be my own little life's mystery.
With your weird post-hurricane ATV party? Yeah, might have frightened some wildlife.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's just 3 of the many encounters of skunk ape paraphernalia, skunk ape smells, sightings, you name it. He's down there. He's down in Florida. He's doing his thing.
Be kind to him and he'll be kind to you.
Be kind. Rewind. That's all he wants. I now pass the speaking skull to Roger.
Excellent.
I will roll it through the underground skull tunnels that were here when America was built.
Yes, and I will receive it. It got a bit of dust and cobwebs on it, but I think it looks better with it.
That's how it likes them.
Indeed. And now we're going to do a segment which I will call Roger Found Himself a Con Man.
Oh, fun.
If you've been keeping up on the Discord and the show, you know that I've written a small essay on human history, blah blah blah, against the theories of Atlantis and whatnot. I am going to record it and publish it soon enough, but give me time. And what I am going to be talking about is specifically pyramids, but not no Egyptian or Mayan pyramids you might be familiar with. We're going to Bosnia, baby.
Oh, the Kentucky pyramids.
I think Bosnia could be considered the Kentucky of Europe.
I don't know enough about it to make that call. I just thought we were going to a more tourist trappy pyramid.
Oh, Jordan.
I think I like more music from Bosnia than I do from Kentucky. So.
Jordan, you have no idea how tourist trappy these pyramids are.
Hit me. Can't wait.
So the Bosnian pyramids, I'm sure you've seen online. There's tons of YouTube videos, tons of TikToks about them. Well, let's just do the long and short. The Bosnian pyramids, this is from Wikipedia's Bosnian Pyramid Claims page. The Bosnian pyramid claims put forward to explain the formation of a cluster of hills that look very similar to pyramids in Visoko, Bosnia, and Herzegovina.
Herzegovina.
Yeah, thank you.
I remember that from when I was a kid. There was horrible things happening. It was on the news all the time.
We will get into that slightly as well.
Oh, good.
They do look very pyramid-like. I'm sharing it on the screen right now for all of our YouTube viewers. There's one.
Oh, yeah.
Got to admit, there's some pyramid feature.
Truly.
It's very pyramid-y.
This is another one where it's not as pyramid-y, but it's got your lifts, your pyramid lifts, if you will, your angles.
Looks a lot more just like a mountain, but
some of them are so pyramidy though.
Yes, so Bosnia's got some unusual mountain features that people have put into question. That one of the main proponents of the Bosnian pyramids is a man who goes by the name of Samir Osmanagic.
Okay. That's pretty close, I'll bet.
He's also known as Sam Osmanagic.
Okay.
He was a Texas oil man. He's Bosnian, but he made his fortune dealing with oil wells and oil mining, oil pumping,
Drilling, probably.
oil drilling, drill baby drill in Texas. Using that money, he then goes home and kind of looks at these mountains and goes, there's something off here. And he concludes
the thing off was that there were no drilling wells.
And he concludes that these mountains that I just showed you are actually stepped pyramids that possibly could date from well beyond any deluge myth that we have in humanity. The supposedly Osmanagic, you tell me how to pronounce your name. Come at me, Sam.
Osmanjish.
Is reported to date back 34,000 years. And
Wow.
there is radiocarbon dating saying that various materials and fossils, we'll go into it, are 34,000 years old.
Have they... Go on. I have questions, but I think they might be answered.
They ask them and I will answer them. That way my segment doesn't go on for forever. What's your question?
Have they dug down?
Yes.
What did they find?
They found a number of things. Let me pull up some pictures. One of the main evidences for it being not naturally made, although there is geological evidence against it, are these rock formations that seem almost man-made.
I mean...
They do look like slabs.
Interesting.
Yes. So there's that. You have the radiocarbon dating of fossils and whatnot, 34,000 years old.
That's wild.
And I'm trying to find another good one on this page. And a lot of my evidence comes from one book in particular, although it's now away from me and on the counter, and I forgot the goddamn name. But it is about human history from this time to the age of agriculture at 10,000 BC. I will post the link on our Discord. Samir, I'm going to pronounce because his last name doesn't make sense in my head.
That's okay. You could call him Sam.
Sammy Sam.
Sam, for the love of God.
We're going to go into his claims now. The hills are located near the town of Visoko, near northwest of Sarajevo. The town was Bosnia's capital during the Middle Ages and ruins of a medieval fortress located on top of Vizichka Hill. Given the defensive strategic value of the hilltop location, other civilizations have built facilities on this site. The fortress was built as over an old observation post of the Roman Empire, which in turn had been constructed on top of the ruins of a further, more ancient settlement. These hills got some human history to them.
Yeah, they're in there.
And in even a mission of archaeological evidence, we're not sure how far human settlements go back on these hills specifically. So that's an interesting thing as well. Like, we only know the oldest found site. We don't know the oldest site that was there, you know?
Yeah.
In October 2005, Sam and his supporters initiated a long-running media campaign to promote the belief that the hill and the surrounding hills were an ancient pyramid complex, similar to what you find at Giza and I forgot the Mayan one. But anyway, we all know the Mayan pyramids. They're built in complexes where you have multiple pyramids together, kind of like a city, straight up. They were cities.
Sure. Crazy.
Where was I on there? Samir suggested that they were most likely constructed by Illyrians, who lived in the area 12,000
Who lived in the area?
from 5,000 BC. And he's argued this as an example of cultures building on top of other cultures.
Sure.
These are just one of it. Those were the oldest, and then it even dates back farther in Sam's eyes. He has
How
also
far
go on.
back does he date it?
Oh, 34,000 years. I already said.
Well, I
But
know, but
all
you
of this
said
is
even
sussy
farther.
as fuck. So Samir is a businessman, and he has, I say, conned people out of a lot of money, specifically from the government. So geologists claim that, as we discussed, these are just mountains. The stonework, if you will, that I showed you, that stone right there is not man-made, but in fact is just a geological phenomenon where sandstone and I forgot what other type of stone just kind of break off into natural square-like pieces. We see this Bimini Road where that is just shale that breaks off into squares.
Or is it?
It is. Or is
Or is it?
We'll go into the Bimini Road eventually.
Finally.
But that is where geology stands. They just view this all as pseudoscience. And even Robert Schoch, you might hear me talking about him on various episodes. He believes that the Sphinx of Giza was built way beyond, specifically the walls of it were built a good 5,000 at least years older than what Egyptology says. Robert Schoch, who I still believe, if he's not dead, is a professor at the University of Boston, he concluded that these are natural geological formations of little interest. Archaeologists have fought with the radiocarbon dating of this, saying that there is no context for any of these radiocarbon datings. They basically, you can dig up whatever the fuck, and if there was something dying on that ground, such as leaves or anything, it will radiocarbon date to however old it goes. Like, you can radiocarbon date shit to 60,000 years ago, and that doesn't mean that there was, human evidence there at that time. The fossils that he found, I think you are following me there, are far from human. They were bones and a few other organic, not pottery shards or anything, but organic compositions that have no linkage to humans at all as of now. I'm not going to say that I am 100% right. Maybe Samir is right, but we don't have a lot of evidence for it right now.
Human bulls.
Human bulls built the pyramids of Bosnia. Werewolf radar theory. Stop us.
There you have it. I don't know.
Go on.
So I tend to be fairly skeptical leaning. I don't like being tricked.
Yes.
I tend to search for answers before I feel stupid. I like try to get out in front of that. But sometimes, like with this geology thing where they're like, that just happens. It's like, sure, yeah, it does. Is this that?
There is a pile of evidence saying yes. However, you can't be sure about such things.
Things get so old.
Well, and that is the thing of science in general. Is like, well, yeah, but is there a question, and can we answer it?
And science is constantly the science is the study of what we have evidence of.
Yes.
Not always the end conclusion.
Yes. Yeah. Science is constantly growing and learning, and that's what I'm saying.
But there is some fishy stuff going on. So
it also seems like maybe this is going to end with this guy trying to buy up these mountains.
Yes, it is, in fact. So Samir has gone to various people, confronted with the claims that he is wrong and a hoaxer, essentially. He has garnered the favor of the Bosnian government, who I don't have the date right now, but recently have said that they have no interest in disproving his claims, and that any research against it does not have the support of the government, because this claim that the Bosnian pyramids are the oldest pyramids on Earth give monetary value to the area.
Oh.
So
well,
it is in the economic benefit of Bosnia to claim that these are pyramids in their own words. This isn't me putting words in their mouth. They have said it is in their best economic benefit to claim these as pyramids.
True. Fair enough.
He has garnered millions of dollars from various institutes. There is a Indonesian man who gave him a $250,000 of Bosnian, no, in US dollars. The government has provided, I believe, $400,000, and Samir himself claims to have given over $1 million of his own fortune to study these pyramids. And this is all very interesting when you realize that in Bosnia, this is also a nonprofit organization and is a tax-deductible write-off.
Mamma mia.
So this could also be tax evasion.
Oh boy.
The most classical of pyramid schemes.
The funnest kind of evasion.
In 2000,
It's a literal pyramid scheme.
in 2000, that's why I really fell with this one. We have some stuff going on in, I can't remember how to pronounce it, Garang Padang, the Indonesian, now claiming to be the oldest pyramid. It is an ancient human civilization site. And we'll go into that next week, or maybe the pyramids of Gaza. I'm going to do the Indonesian pyramids and Giza in the next few weeks for Pyramacember.
Love it. Love that this is what it has become. And there you go, folks. That's another episode. Of
One more
Radar.
thing quickly. But overall, yeah, I think my segment's coming to an ending. This is not a pyramid claim. This is tax evasion. In 2006, Samir claimed that Zahi Hawass said that these were, in fact, pyramids, and that Zahi Hawass, former Egyptian Minister of State for Antiquities Affairs, if you don't know who he is,
Sure.
claimed that Samir claimed that Zahi Hawass said that the Mayan pyramids and these originated in Atlantis, to which Zahi Hawass immediately wrote a letter and sent it out wherever he could.
Sure. That's good. Good for him.
I actually talked about that guy in a Grave Nugget like 3 years ago.
We've talked about that guy quite a few times. He shows up a lot when you're talking pyramids.
He's good and bad. He's
both good and bad.
Both good and bad. Back to the tourism, though, and then I'll start
multitudes.
to properly end this. The site attracts 200,000 tourists a year on average. Like, this is crazy big money. And they go with the whole pseudoscience thing to where mainstream academia doesn't want you to know the truth. Meanwhile, blocking anyone from saying the truth or doing legitimate research on it.
Sure.
I mean, normally I would just say roll with it and get your bag, but in the current situation, certainly here and kind of worldwide
right now, misinformation and pseudoscience does not take the place of history.
This is true.
And on top of it, to wrap it up properly well, where was that point? I apologize for my scattered brain. I'm drinking a powerful Stumpton coffee. It's the white can, and it might be crack cocaine.
Oh boy.
I like that you call it Stumpton.
How do you pronounce it?
Stumptown.
Oh,
I definitely say Stumpton from now on.
As Jordan mentioned, this area, Bosnia especially, has gone through war times over the past few decades.
Yes.
They might have had a genocide in the 90s.
And the museums of Bosnia are severely underfunded, and they are at risk of losing actual historic artifacts that show the proper history of the Bosnian people, which, as we discussed, goes back to 10,000 BC. And it's all being sucked up by the vacuum of the Bosnian pyramids. The government of Bosnia is no longer truly funding their actual museum of history in favor of Samir's pyramids.
That is fucking insane.
That is wild.
Yes. So, in my opinion, and the pyramid of geologists and archaeologists, these pyramids are not pyramids, but just mountains made of sandstone.
Well, there you go.
And we need to stop paying attention to them.
And yet they do contain mummies for some reason.
Well, that's because I've been putting them there.
Roger.
Please donate to my separate Patreon, Mummies of Roger, where I just bury mummies wherever, some random places. Your
Roger's
mom's freezer I'm trying to
Roger's
get into.
trick mummies.
But I'm going to put the skull away now.
Oh,
Save
back
the
in
energy
its
for my Giza pyramid.
Pedestal. And we're going to wrap up the app, guys. Thank you so much once again for joining us. Shout out to Cheesebot and Necrophil for hanging in the chat. You guys who are Dark Council members, come hang with us. We have fun in the chat. We goof around, and we'll give you the shout-outs. We miss you. We love you. That's it for the show. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Punch the sky, Spaceman Joe. 20 years we've been saying that for.
20 more until the curse is broken properly.